Yes, motivation is overrated. We all run behind motivation, but motivation is not something that has to be found. The more important things in life are self-awareness, planning out things, using a habit scorecard, using implementation intention, also modifying our environment to our benefit. And the last point that I am going to talk about in this video is the power of self-control, or actually the secret of self-control. I am Anushka Dhoka and I am a third year MBBS student at BJGMC Pune, and let's start with the video. So habits. We have been talking a lot about habits in this series, and today I want to talk about habits being automatic is a good as well as a bad thing. Good because you don't have to consciously think about it, use a lot of energy, you just go on doing it. But bad thing is that you don't notice the bad habits that you are doing and you are just doing them because you have been in an automatic behavior to do it. So first step towards any change is being self-aware. So for knowing that, you have to use a method as mentioned in the book The Atomic Habits, is that being more self-aware by making a habit scorecard, wherein you notice and write down each and every habit that you perform right from the start of your day, like very minor things like waking up, then brushing your teeth. But this is not usually that happens. It's like waking up, checking your phone, reaching out to your phone, opening Instagram, scrolling for 30 minutes, and then waking up and then getting ready. So all of the points you have to note down and then score them according to it being good habit, bad habit, or a neutral habit. So if it's a good habit, well and good, you continue doing that. Bad habit, you have to break that, and neutral habit, you can continue doing that. But James Clear also mentions that no habits are good or bad, they're just effective towards solving our problems. A same habit can be good or bad for people with different aims. Like, as the example given in the book is like eating peanut butter with bread is a good habit for someone who is trying to bulk up, but it's a bad habit for someone who is trying to lose weight. All habits serve you in some or the other way. The purpose might be good or bad, the purpose that you might want to continue or you might not want to. So you have to modify your behavior according to that. Usually, the habits that reinforce with your identity are good and the ones that are against them are bad. And talking about identity, you can go and visit this video wherein I have talked about how we link our identity to a change. So this habit scorecard method is very useful, but it's tedious work. Become more conscious and aware about the things that you're doing, and then only you can change them, right? So there is a method called as pointing and calling. In Japan, during the metro, they use this, and which has avoided a large percentage of their accidents, which makes the things very obvious. So pointing and calling means, suppose you are eating something unhealthy which you don't want to eat, but you just mindlessly see that on your counter, on your kitchen counter, you just go grab it and eat it. But if you point it out and call it, like right now I'm eating a piece of cake which looks very tasty, but it's not very healthy and it's not fulfilling my purpose of being a healthy person, a fit person. If I say this, I am less likely to perform that habit, and I'm becoming more aware of it. So the rule that I'm going to talk about in this video is making the cue very obvious, making the trigger which leads you to do a habit very obvious. And by obvious is by making it more visible to you, right? So you can make it more visible by things or the objects in your environment. That is one thing. And the other thing is that you can make it more obvious when you already have planned it in your mind when and where you're going to do that. So that is the technique of intention implementation, where you intend to implement the habit. So there are two methods of doing that. One is like actually deciding the place and time where you are going to do that. Like I am going to meditate 7 a.m. in the morning for 20 minutes in my bedroom. this is the whole thing. If you have it planned already, if you know when and where you're going to do it, you are more likely to do that, because you don't have to make a decision of, oh, right now I have time, so should I do this or should I do that? I really need to do meditation, but when should I do it? I don't find time in my routine. That's because you're not making time for it. You're not planning it beforehand. So planning is the main part of implementation intention. Here, most of us think that we are lacking motivation, and that's why I'm not meditating. That's why I'm not implementing the new habit that I want to do. But rather than motivation, you are lacking a clarity of when and where to do it. And that's why most of us just wait for the perfect and the right moment, time, place, opportunity for right miracles to happen. But miracles are not going to happen. They're just going to happen if you take action over and over again with the planning in your head. Let's talk about habit stacking. Habit stacking is actually using your old habit as a cue, and after that implementing your new habit. So the habit stacking method is just like a stack of blocks, wherein after putting the first block, you're going to do the second thing. Suppose you want to do the new habit like jogging every day, but if you relate it with a habit that you do twice a week just, then it's not likely that you'll run every day, right? So for that, you're going to associate the new habit with the whole old habit with the same frequency. Like suppose brushing my teeth. As soon as I wake up, I'll get ready and go for jogging. If this is what your habit stacking looks like, it's more likely that you will perform it. And just because we haven't planned out our days, it's more likely that whatever happens, we just go with the flow. Whatever anybody asks us to do, we do that, because we haven't yet stacked or planned out our day, filled up our day with our own intentions. And that's how most of the people just end up their life going with the flow and not knowing what they really want to do, and they just have the regret that this is something I really wanted to do, but I never got time to do that. But it's not about time, it's about planning and having clarity. Also, it is very important to be specific that I'll do this habit right after lunch here for about this much time. If you make it very clear, you know exactly. If you don't make it clear, you just do the old habit and kind of forget about the new. And that's how never the new habit is included in your schedule. Let's talk about the environment. We usually think that this is our choice that we did this. Suppose you go to a market and you bought something that you wanted. You think that it was your choice to bring that, but not really. It's mostly because the market or the store had kept it in such a way that it was very obvious for you to take that. So mostly it's not that what we want we make a choice, it's about the most obvious thing that is available is what our choice is made for. So you might have heard about this marketing strategy where they keep the most expensive or branded things at the reach of our level, which is in the middle section where we can easily reach to it, rather than on the top or at the bottom, because we are more likely to look at them. It is easier for us to reach out to them and we are going to buy it more. Whatever my environment is, how do I change my environment? You will ask me, yeah, I really want to change my environment because environment is something that shapes you. The line I really loved from this book is that the environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior, which is very true and which we do not realize that much, that environment actually shapes us. Because there was a study conducted at a hospital wherein people drank more soda because there was more soda stations. So without changing those, they just added more water stations in the hospital cafeteria area, and the next year there was 15 to 20% increase in the water, people buying water than people buying soda. So without talking to anyone, without actually intending for it, our environment plays a big role. But then you will tell me that we are the victim of our environment. So what can we do about it? No, you can become the architect of it. Obviously, there are many environments that you cannot change, but there is an environment that you spend most of your time, that is your work and your home, which you can modify yourself. Like, suppose your kitchen, if you keep junk food on the counter, it's more likely that you will eat that. And if you decide that I want to finish dry fruits, but you don't finish them because it's hidden somewhere in the closet, you don't look for it, and then once a day you see full packet and you feel, how am I going to finish this? So for that, if you keep it at your counter, if you if you make it more obvious for you, if you use the most important sensory organ that has been given to us, that is the sight, to your benefit, by actually eating the dry fruits, if you just keep it there, you're more likely to next day take a handful of them, fill it in your pocket and eat it throughout the day. And in a matter of 10 to 15 days, you'll be done with the eating of the dry fruits, which will be a healthy habit, which you did just by placing the packet of dry fruits outside. So don't you think that how much of an impact it produces what you see around yourself? So this is something which actually impacted me from the book and I implemented in my life, is that I used to feel that I don't get time to run in the evening. I used to decide that I'm going to run every day, but due to busy schedule, I used to think in the evening is the perfect time because it's pleasant and it's nice. I'll be refreshed in the middle of my day, but I never got time. So here my problem was about the planning, that I planned my activity not specifically but vaguely, that I'll do it in the evening, but something or the other things came in the evening and I couldn't do it. So you have to choose the time which is not chaotic, not occupied already. So then I thought that I'll do it in the morning. But when I decided that, I used to wake up and I used to feel lazy that now I have to get ready, wear on my gym clothes, then pack my bag, eat something and then go running. Who will do all of this? And then I never did it. But when I read about changing my environment and how I can make it more obvious for me, I decided that the night before I sleep, I'll keep my clothes already out there so that I don't have to decide what I'll wear. Also, I'll keep the things that I have to eat just before running outside on my table, which will make me more likely to do that. When I wake up, I see that I have my gym clothes there, I have my food there, fruits there, I'll eat it and then I'll go running. And which really helped me to implement this habit. So our environment can play a very big role and we should actually use our environment to our benefit. Every habit is initiated by a cue and we are more likely to notice a cue which stands out. The best line that I have heard from this book is, be the designer of your world than just being a mere consumer of it. Also, if you can do this, please try to do that. Define a place for a particular habit of yours. Bed for sleeping, table for studying, chair for reading. If you do this, when you go into that environment, you are more likely to triggered by the cues and you're more likely to do the things that you intend to do there. Because if you do multiple things at a place, you will not be able to differentiate and there will be multiple cues which will help you go into which will again spiral you down into the old routine of yours, which you don't want. I'm going to talk about the secret of self-control, which is very important. All of us think that I want to quit spending so much time on Instagram, on social media, and anywhere on YouTube shorts, anything that you are spending a lot of time at, which you don't want to. We decide that now I'll have self-control. I'll do this. I'll open it, I'll use it only for 20 minutes and then I'll close it. But the habits that we are already into, it's very hard for us to get out of it, even though for a long period of time we are not triggered by them, because they have been encoded in our brain. So I would like to tell you that the best way of self-control is not by increasing your willpower and discipline. We are taught in this world that you have to be more disciplined to be more successful. Yeah, I agree. But you don't have to spend a lot of your energy into thinking that I'll have my best self-control. I'll keep my social media, but I'll not use it for longer than 20 minutes. It's not how it's gonna work. The best way to self-control is to avoid the situations where you have to self-control. You have to stop spending your energy in controlling yourself. That's as simple as that. Just put in single line. The secret to self-control is to avoid the situations where you have to control yourself. As very rightly said by James Clear, is that someone who's constantly in a negative environment cannot give positive outcomes, because environment is very important and self-control cannot take place because you're spending way too much energy into controlling than you could do in optimizing the new habits that you want to build. Self-control is a very short-term strategy. It cannot work for long-term, so it's best to avoid it. And the best way to break bad habits is to make it invisible, and to build good habits is to start making it more obvious in your environment so that you do it more frequently. Thank you so much for listening till the end, and I would want you to comment down below the habits that you want to implement in your life. How are you going to change your environment regarding that, and are you liking these videos or not?